I've been chosen to participate in the 2022 Great Guitar Build-Off Invitational, and I may have invented a super cool technique where anybody can customize the face of their guitar with any color or pattern. Look how cool that is. I'm gonna have some fun with this. Myself and a few other YouTubers were given this kit from Crimson Guitar and free to let our imaginations run wild. There's a competition between us, but I might be disqualifying myself because I don't think I'm going to use the body blank that they sent, but instead make my own out of mahogany. Whether or not I am disqualified from the competition, all of the guitars will be raffled off for a charity of our choice, and I am supporting Small Steps in Speech, and I'll explain why that charity is so important to me later in the video. I'm making my body out of mahogany. The type of wood you choose for a guitar is more about the weight and look. I like my guitars to be very lightweight, and this mahogany will contrast nice with the design I have for the face. I get nearly all of my wood from Kencraft. They are a local family-owned business and they do sell online, so please check them out. I was inspired by this guitar where the face is made out of Formica, so I challenged myself to do something similar but make up my own pattern. So I cut up some 1/8 inch acrylic that I'll be gluing to the face of the mahogany, and I'm sanding it so it'll have a nice mechanical bond. So I mixed up some resin and then used that to attach the acrylic to the mahogany. And then I sanded the top of that for the next layer. For the face of this, I want to do something really cool and customizable. So in Adobe Illustrator, I drew a bunch of lines going up and down and left and right. So then I brought that into Photoshop and I did this cool technique where you blur it and then sharpen it and then blur it and sharpen it, and you keep doing that like a dozen times and you get this really cool, awesome effect. And then I'm able to use blend modes to choose any color that I want, and I ended up with this, which makes this really cool pattern that I could choose any color and it's not repeating. So you're not gonna see any repeating lines since everything was drawn freehand. And I got me one of those big fancy Epson photo printers, and so I printed this out onto roll paper, and then we're going to attach that to the acrylic. So now I have my printout, which I'm going to adhere to the acrylic, which is then adhered to the mahogany. This white acrylic is going to make it look like there's banding going around this entire guitar. So I'm just going to use some spray adhesive to attach it to this. I did sand this just so it has a nice rough surface. This does have an adhesive back, but I really want to make sure that it is stuck to this permanently, and this 3M high strength 90 will work great for that. So now I'm gonna pour epoxy on here, and I'm using the Total Boat tabletop epoxy just because it's really hard and it's a little bit more scratch resistant than normal epoxy, since, you know, a guitar's gonna get used, it's gonna get scratched. So I've got that all mixed up, and I'm just gonna start pouring it on here and then get rid of some of these bubbles here. So the epoxy has cured for a couple of days. I'm going to carve this out on the CNC. If you don't have a CNC, you could use your laser cutter and make a router template. Here's a fun little fact. The first pour didn't work out because I didn't follow directions. So a couple of days later, it's still a little tacky. So I'm going to recover this and make a second guitar for myself. All right, so this is kind of scary because I am out of mahogany. This is it. I ran so many tests out of that foam insulation board to make sure everything was gonna fit. Then I glued up a whole bunch of 2x4s and cut it out of there just to make sure that that bit could handle that depth. We're good. This is it. This is for real. I don't know why this is so scary, but it is. So for the first couple of layers, I have to go real slow so it doesn't chew up the epoxy, as you can see right here. But when it gets down to the wood, well, it's gonna speed up. Also, the bit is so long that my dust collection is not working. Oh my goodness. Oh, that was nerve-wracking. Ugh. In between these MDF pieces here is bits of aluminum, and I accidentally started the router while the bit was touching the aluminum, which broke part of the bit, which then didn't leave me a flat bottom on here. So I gotta fix that. The flat bottom here is not a big deal, but I can see on the inside it's burnt where that bit broke. I guess it was a one-time use bit. I got an extra long bit just for this project so it could go through 1 3/4 material. And I guess if I want to do another one, I got to buy another bit. I got some beautiful pearl pit guards that I'm going to use for this guitar. I'm going to cut it out on the laser. If you don't have a laser cutter, you could do this on your CNC. Just going to throw this into the Rayjet R400. Don't worry if you see blemishes on the top here. We're gonna sand this flat and then buff it to a perfect shine. I've got this new buffing system that you probably have not seen before, and it works faster and more amazing than anything that you have probably seen. What I'm trying to say is you're gonna wanna stick around to the end. So I got the pickups installed in there, so now I can use that to line up the pick guard and pre-drill all the holes for this. Trying to get the neck to fit in, it's really close. Got a really, really good tight fit for the neck. I mean, that's, ow. So on the back side, I need to attach the neck to the body. I need to drill out these holes over on the drill press, but I'm gonna get it started here because I have this self-centering drill bit, and that's going to allow me to get perfect placement for these holes. Actually, before I do this, I'm just gonna put a round over on the back side here because I want this to line up perfectly with that. There we go. That is the neck. All right, next. So now we're drilling the through holes here. We're gonna do this on the drill press, but I wanna get it started with this center finding drill bit. So these things get pounded into the guitar here, but I can't do that until the body work is all done. So now I'm gonna take everything apart and we are going to sand and shape. Got the wood part all sanded nice and smooth. I am not going to do a belly cut. I'm gonna leave it kind of Gibson style. On the top here, this is where we get to have some fun and to totally flatten this out and get a perfect shine out of this epoxy. So the first thing I need to do is just sand it down flat. And then just keep moving up grits. If you work with epoxy, this polishing system is about to change your life. I didn't get a really good pour, so it was rough. So I sanded it flat starting at 120, worked my way all the way up to 2000. Typically with epoxy, or even in the automotive industry, you would get a bunch of different compounds varying in different grits and work your way through the system. This Norton Liquid Ice simplifies the entire thing. There's only one compound and then you get 3 pads. I'm not gonna get into the details now, but I've got a full tutorial on the Norton Liquid Ice buffing system. Hashtag not sponsored. I paid for this with my own money selling drugs. So there is no sponsor for this video. This is a charity video. We don't need a sponsor today. We're sponsor free. You cool with that?
Are you cool?
Are we square?
Are we square?
This is used by some automotive professionals and it works amazing, absolutely amazing on epoxy pours. So this is Velcroed on. We go to number 2. I'm gonna spray some conductive paint inside the cavity here. This is going to reduce outside interference. On the back of the pick guard, I also put this copper tape to reduce outside interference. After all that, it works. I am absolutely thrilled on how it came out. I'm a huge fan of vintage guitars and amps, and this is my 1964 Supro. Just about a year ago, I found the matching amp for it, which is really cool. This particular guitar was owned by Michael Stanley of the Michael Stanley Band, and then after that was Joe Walsh. Joe Walsh, like the Joe Walsh used to own this guitar. I've tried to contact them about the history of this guitar, but I've never received any response. So if anybody out there knows Joe Walsh or how to get a hold of Joe Walsh, I have his old Supro. I would love to hear the history of it and the story behind him and Michael Stanley owning this guitar. I'll tell the story of this guitar on my second channel. This is today's feature right here. So I wanted to keep with the classic design, so it has kind of a fender shape. It's a little bit heavier than what I would like. So in version 2, I probably will do a belly cut, and then I could probably shave off about 1/4 inch in thickness. It's kind of thick. Of course, you don't need a CNC to make a guitar. One of my goals is to make and sell guitars sometime in the future. Maybe it's only 1 or 2 a year, but that is why I chose to use the CNC, so I could work out the bugs, figure out what I need to do, and design everything in Fusion 360 and set all of my parameters up front and all my variables up front. That way I could easily go in and change numbers. And the way Fusion 360 works is you change something and then it just automatically updates the design, which is really cool. So that is why I use the laser and the CNC. I want to be able to make these to spec and make them very repeatable in the future. But if you don't have a CNC, of course, you could use a router and a bandsaw to make this, of course, right? It's all about what you have and what you want to use for that particular project. This wasn't a tutorial. This was, I'm gonna have some fun. I'm gonna try some new techniques and see if this actually works, because this was a Rule 4 type moment. Everything is an experiment, and that face came out absolutely amazing. I love it. I can print out anything that I want and have it on the front of the guitar. That really, really opens up the realm of possibilities, not just with the guitar making, but my future woodworks as well. Some of you know I make nearly all the music on my channel. All the background music, all the montage music, I make myself. I don't claim to be a great guitar player. I just love fiddling with music. I've played in bands most of my life. It's just something I like doing. I like both rock music and electronic music, so I like combining those two things together, and it just makes for some good, fun background music. So all the music you heard today, I made. All the guitar that you heard today was from this particular guitar. This guitar, as well as all the other guitars in the Invitational build, is being raffled off for a charity of choice. My charity of choice is Small Steps in Speech. My wife is a speech pathologist, so it means a lot to us, and this is a great charity to help out. that is gonna wrap it up. You're gonna wanna subscribe because we get a lot more cool woodworking builds coming up. Plus, I need to do version 2 of this because I wanna make one of these for myself. As always, be safe, have fun, stay passionate, and play something.